We're live? Okay, call the Town of Wareham Board of Selectmen meeting for December 15th, 2020 to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, all 5 selectmen are present. I don't yet see the town administrator or the town council.
Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Keegan, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, stand up.
Yes. Allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, announcements. Alan.
The only announcement that I have is that the MBTA today finalized their cutback in services for eastern part of Massachusetts. There's a bunch of different services either being eliminated or sharply curtailed. It will probably affect us eventually as far as Middleborough and Plymouth North going into Boston. That's it.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Patrick.
All set.
Jim.
I'm good, thank you.
Judy.
No, thank you.
All I have to announce is that we are taking the next 2 weeks off. We will reconvene on January 5th. Let's see. Citizens' comments. Is there anyone?
Wait a second. Town hall is closed starting
That
now.
is true. Yes.
And in order for anyone to, the public to come into town hall, you need to call the department that you want to speak with or deal with. And that will be in the paper. It's online, 291-3100. And then you just look for the extension of the department that you want to talk to. The buildings, both the town hall and the multi-service center are closed.
Yep, that was the decision of the town administrator effective for tomorrow. So in order to find the department you're looking for, you can go on the town website, click departments, scroll down for the department you want, and that's the extension that you will want to hit when you call the main number, which is the 508-291-3100 number. So, we're sorry we had to go back to it, but the numbers are out of control. Citizens' comments. Anybody who wishes to speak to the board tonight? I am not seeing, let's see, I see one that just says remote.
That's Steve Ruiz.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody for that. Board comments, Alan.
Okay, I'd like to thank the moderator and the citizens who came to the town meeting on Saturday. It was extremely well run. I had people who were listening at home so they could hear better than they could hear our regular selectmen's meetings. So thanks Steve Ruiz and everybody else for the great job they did. Let's see what else we got here. I'm working, just so people know, we've had cutbacks from GATRA on certain services. I'm working with them now to get bus service back from Wareham to Middleborough to Plymouth and Brockton to the VA hospital. The other thing that really came up is we had the trash issue that we had and really was basically a last minute, we fix as best we can. I refer to that as really kicking the can down the road, which we've done for a long time on certain things. At this point in time in life, we need to stop doing it because it's the old Fram filter, pay me now or pay me later. And the pay me later just never works well. We've got some issues right now. The board is going to have to work with the road commissioners, town administrator, et cetera. Certain businesses and individuals in Onset are trying to expand. And of course, Onset as a village has no parking. And it's got to a point now where it's not only stagnant as far as the parking goes, but it's affecting actually people getting licenses to open and do things. So this is an issue we're going to have to deal with, even though it's going to be very difficult. So I just want to bring that to the board's attention. And Merchants Way is another issue we're going to have to deal with down the line, et cetera. So at this point here, we've probably got 5 or 6 things that we've been playing with for probably 2 years or more. And I guess it's time we get our act together. Thank you.
Patrick.
All right, so 2 things. First, I want to talk about this propensity for people to be sick and go to work. We've had multiple cases of this very issue that have caused multiple cases of coronavirus to be spread. You know, if you have a cold or you have something wrong, I don't care if it's a sniffle, don't go to work. I can't understand how anybody can possibly think that, because just so you know, it's happened multiple times. It happened recently, caused a business to completely shut down. They go to work, they're in there, they're sick. The next thing you know, oh, geez, they get tested, they got coronavirus. They spread it. Those are big deal spreaders, and those aren't even the ones that they're worried about. And, you know, the ones that are the secret ones, so to speak. But this is an obvious one that can be stopped. Please don't go to work if you don't feel well. Stay home. I mean, come on, man. You're just making it worse for everybody else. Secondly, I'm not so sure that I agree with what Mr. Slavin said about the trash thing. We've been dealing with it. It was on my agenda for about a year. Off and on, we started to talk about it. That's where we got our start. And we've been working on this for quite a while. We obviously weren't going to start 2 or 3 years ahead of time, but we started, we got it done. We met the deadline. We have something in place for people in this town. And, you know, they only had 2 choices in my opinion. They came to town meeting. They could either vote for what we presented, because that's what's available, not because of any other reason, because that's what's available. And if not, then you have nothing. Then you'd have to fend for yourself. At that point, we gave them what we needed. Jim worked real hard since he got on the board. He was on the trash thing right away, and he got on top of it. I thought he did a whale of a job between you and I think we've done a pretty good job. And also, I'm not so sure that, you know, we need to be talking about what the board hasn't done or what they should do or anything of that nature. I mean, when stuff comes up and people ask for stuff to get on the agenda and we come into problems, we take it and we deal with it. We always have. And I support this board 100%. And I don't see any reason to say, well, you know, we got to get our act together. I don't happen to agree with Mr. Slavin on that. I think we're doing a whale of a job. And if you don't believe it, just go back about 10 years and check into what was going on here. And then you'll know what the difference is between a board that works and a board that doesn't work. Okay. But at any rate, that's what I need to say tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Jim.
Wow. I thought.
Tough act to follow, I know.
I thought town meeting went very well, considering, you know, we're outdoors, and had a pretty good turnout. And we got the business done we had to get done. And I want to thank everyone. And beyond that, I'm going to keep it short and pass it over.
Okay, thank you. Judy.
Yes, just 2 things. I'll echo the comments about the wonderful town meeting, even though it was raining. Immediately Monday morning, the town clerk sent the article that was passed at town meeting to the Attorney General's office electronically so that it can be approved and returned to us as quickly as possible. And the second really very good news is that our tax rate was certified by the Department of Revenue. So we're all set. We got done what we needed to get done. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, regarding the trash issue, the only thing I would say is it is true that the majority of the work certainly took place in the last 8 months. But the interesting thing is if we had started working on this last year, none of the facts that or a good percentage of the facts that we would have presumed would have been in existence at that time would have been the operable facts that popped up this year that drove the decision that we went to. And that's because when you're in a regional setup, you don't have control of everything. When you're in a district, you've got to deal with other towns, you've got to deal with other boards of selectmen and, you know, whatever constituencies they're trying to appease. And so there's a lot of moving parts to it. And unfortunately, when you've got 3 or 4 different entities, I mean, think about it, town of Wareham, town of Carver, town of Marion, and a trash district. So now you've got 4 entities trying to figure out, you know, what to do with this thing that ends. Marion obviously, you know, took their ball and ran, which is fine, but that took some time to negotiate out because there's environmental liabilities and everything else that have got to be divvied up. Then you had to see whether the district even wanted to run a transfer station. Then we're still dealing with Rochester. And, you know, I'll echo Patrick's comments praising Jim on that. You know, he did get it done along with the town administrator, was integral to the process. He kept us very well informed. He was another set of ears at the regional meetings and at the meetings with individual towns to figure this out. So kudos to him. The bottom line is this, doing it this way, and I'll credit Jim and the town administrator once again, saves the average person who's going to get trash service pickup about $200 a year. That's not insubstantial, and I think that's a pretty good outcome. You know, in November, when things weren't clear, I can understand some frustration with people because everybody wants to have the information and know exactly what's going on. But, you know, let's look at the scoreboard. It's pretty good right now. And that's all I've got. Let's see. We don't have any appointments, reappointments, or interviews. Let us jump down to our ROTC superstar.
Please.
And we'll wait a minute for WCTV to unmute Keegan Cahill and Martin.
Keegan, boy.
Hello. Hi.
Martin, can you hear us? Can you unmute, Martin?
Oh, I think they are unmuted.
No, Martin is, okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a certificate from the Board of Selectmen. I'm going to read it into the record. The Board of Selectmen awards this certificate of recognition to Keegan Cahill, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Keegan P. Cahill is an honors student and a JROTC Cadet Battalion Commander at Wareham High School. He was awarded the JROTC Legion of Valor with Bronze Cross for achievement. The honor is awarded to JROTC cadets who demonstrate outstanding performance, dependability, and good character, who adhere to the code of military discipline and demonstrate leadership ability. This year, only 53 JROTC cadets were chosen for this honor from a field of over 553,000. The organization which makes this award is comprised of veterans who have distinguished themselves by earning either the Medal of Honor or their respective services' highest award for gallantry, the Navy Cross, the Army Distinguished Service Cross, or the Air Force Cross. It is therefore with great pleasure and humility that the Board of Selectmen award our certificate of appreciation to Keegan P. Cahill, presented this 15th day of December 2020, Wareham Board of Selectmen.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Very good.
Very nice.
Nice
Thank
job.
you, everybody.
Congratulations.
Much.
So why don't you brag a little bit?
Oh,
Tell us about your future plans.
Back now. We couldn't hear you for a second,
Yeah.
but thank you very much. If you didn't hear me before, it's really, I really appreciate it. I guess future plans. I'd like to join the Army. That's always been my main goal. Really, I've always thought, you know, the services would do me good. So I'd like to go to sort of academy for ROTC school, where I can get put in as a second lieutenant after 4 years of college. So that's really my main goal. Yeah, a 4-year school eventually leading to me being commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army. Sort of been driving towards that for a couple of years now, and you know, JROTC and this recognition certainly is really aiding me in that goal, I'd say. So yeah.
Very nice.
Excellent. Comments on the board, Alan? Up, Alan, you got a mic up.
No, just thank you very much. That's it.
Okay. Patrick?
Nice job, son. We're all proud of you.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, great job. And I think you've got
Thank
some
you.
good
Thank you.
direction for your future. Thank you.
Judy?
We will mail you this certificate, seeing as our town town hall is closed. But we do actually have a printed certificate for you to display, and I'll show it to you. Looks like this.
Very
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your service as a cadet and also for your future service in our military.
Thank
Very
you.
appreciative.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
to the board. Thank you to the board for recognizing him.
We had no choice.
Good work, Keegan.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay,
Good night, everybody.
thank you.
Good night. Okay, we have a dog hearing for 7:15, but I don't necessarily, what am I seeing here? What I was gonna do was have Ken do the hazard mitigation so he doesn't have to watch through the whole dog hearing here. I was gonna jump down to that as well, get that out of the way. So,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ken, on the hazard mitigation,
Yes.
why don't you, I mean, I think everyone here knows what it is, but for the public's benefit, why don't you just briefly explain what this program was and why we need to take a vote tonight? Ken did send me just a little while ago the certificate of adoption that needs to be read into the record. I will ask Judy to make a motion and then I will read the text if we get to that point. So Ken, go, take it away.
All right. The hazard mitigation plan is a multi-hazard mitigation plan. So what is a hazard mitigation plan? It's a planning project that reduces or eliminates the loss of life and property damage that can result from natural hazards such as floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, droughts, etc. And it's done through long-term strategies that include plans, policies, and programs to mitigate the impacts of hazards. We've spent about a year and a half on this. We're using a special committee set aside to meet monthly on the development of the hazard plan. And we reached out to the public in terms of surveys and public meetings to allow people to participate safely in the development of the plan. At this time, what we have is a complete document. It's some 200 pages of the multi-hazard mitigation plan specifically for Wareham, done by the Woods Hole Group. And with the adoption of this plan, we'll be ready to accept grants from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the State Emergency Management Agency for actual capital projects that come with the yearly options that are available to us to get more money for the town. In fact, the wastewater facility is trying to make an application right now, and we're trying to get this plan adopted so a grant application can be submitted for this month to improve the wastewater facilities.
Okay.
So with the adoption, we'll file this with the Federal Emergency Management Agency and proceed to implement the programs that are laid out in the plan.
Very good. Alan, questions? Microphone, Alan.
No, but the problem is that it's very difficult when we get a 192-page document, in one day. You don't have really time to review it. Something I don't like to do.
Yeah, this was kind of, there was I believe, a misunderstanding as to what the due date for this was. It was originally believed that in order for us to vote this, there was some confusion over whether it was the end of January, which is what I believe Ken, the apprehension Ken was laboring under, and then the state came back with something different. So I get that it's a little tough to go through a document that long, but he did get it out to us last week, and we had to get it done tonight in order to be eligible for these programs.
I understand, but that document's been ready for a while, that's all.
Thank you. Patrick?
Yeah, I got to read through it. I would have, like Alan would have wished we had more time with it because although I did see some stuff in there, I was like, what the hell is this all about? But to tell you the truth, it was sort of just fluff. It wasn't really any consequence. So I'm imagining that once we vote this document in, it's going to be constantly updated. As when we remember, if you remember correct, we voted to accept the stretch regulations, and when we did that, now the stretch regulations are getting updates that we're sort of mandatorily stuck with, and I think this is going to have a similar effect. What's going to happen is, they're going to start out with this document, and then they're going to start out, okay, we'll give you some money like they did with the stretch document. And then ultimately it's going to cost us more and more and more in the end result. That's what I picture this document as being in reviewing it.
Okay, Jim.
I think I went to most of the meetings on this, and there were presentations, 2 or 3 of them. And unless the same person was doing both, which I don't believe was the case. And I think Mr. Buckland indicated that we put this in place that we'll be able to apply for federal emergency and state grants. If we didn't have this in place, this gives us a better chance of receiving grants we apply for. If he'd like to clarify that, that would be great.
That's exactly right, Jim. This was a precursor to allowing us to enter into the grant program for capital improvements to the town that can be applied to things like emergency operations center and floodproofing the wastewater treatment system, et cetera. Different grants that are available for us to actually make some improvements to our infrastructure.
Thank you. I'm good.
Judy.
I thought it was a really interesting document. I'm a fast reader and I read the whole thing actually twice. A lot of what it says I already knew, and anybody who's lived here for 10 years or more knows what storms can do. But I think it's a very good document to have in hand, which allows us to apply for and hopefully receive different grants that will help mitigate some of the problems that we obviously have. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say that, just because we have a plan, that's not the same as code. So we're not adopting any code. What we've done is formulate a plan that gives the government a basis to give us money. And, of course, it's their grant program. They can make it more strict going down the road if they want. They can say, well, the next time you want money, you better get your town meeting to vote to adopt to change your zoning bylaw for this, that. They can do that. It's the federal government. They're the superior government. They're here on the totem pole and we're invisible these days. So that's just the way it goes. I'm just glad that we got a shot at maybe getting some of the money that our taxpayers paid out in federal taxes back here. So that's why I'm going to vote for this. And I'd like to thank Ken for the work on this. This actually started back, I think the planning for all this stuff started back in like 2017, if I remember correctly. Ken?
That's when we first started going after the grant funds for doing the plan itself. Back in 2017.
Yeah, and I can remember, I think there was something down at, didn't we have something the Woods Hole group put on down at Bay Point? Where they had a bunch of stakeholders in and business people and, this, that, and the other thing. And we all sat around and tried to prioritize what was important to the town infrastructure and come up with a little bit of some guidance there. That's the first I remember it.
That's right. And we had the emergency services, fire, police, and all participating as well in the water departments, looking to start off the planning process and figuring out what the soft spots were in the town infrastructure.
Yeah. So I think by and large it's a good thing. As long as they don't try to make us do stuff for money in the future, it's a good thing. So Judy, would you like to make a motion, and then I will read what I've got on my phone here.
I move that the Board of Selectmen adopt the Town of Wareham, Massachusetts Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 as documented and handed in to us.
No, I've got to read a certificate of adoption. That's what they want us to do. So
All right.
I will finish your motion for you.
Good.
Certificate of adoption, Board of Selectmen, Town of Wareham, Massachusetts, a resolution adopting the Town of Wareham Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020. Whereas the Town of Wareham recognizes the threat that natural hazards pose to people and property within our community, and whereas undertaking hazard mitigation actions will reduce the potential for harm to people and property from future hazard occurrences, and whereas the Town of Wareham established a committee to prepare the Town of Wareham Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020, and whereas the Town of Wareham Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 contains several potential future projects to mitigate potential impacts from natural hazards in the Town of Wareham, and whereas duly noticed public meetings were held by the local planning team on May 20th, 2020, and whereas the Town of Wareham authorizes responsible departments and or agencies to execute their responsibilities demonstrated in the plan, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Wareham Board of Selectmen adopts the Town of Wareham Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan 2020 in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 4, or the Charter and bylaws of the Town of Wareham. And I guess at this point,
You
we
need
get
a second.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, motion by Judy, seconded by Jim. Roll call vote. Alan?
Before you do that, I want to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so, like I say, I didn't get to, I probably should have finished what I was gonna say. I never like these things because anytime you put, the federal government puts sort of money at you, just like the state government does, then it always ends up costing you down the road. It's just the nature of the beast. It's never not cost us when they've come up and said, okay, here's some money, we're gonna hold this over your head, and here it is right here. However, the plan, I happen to think, was pretty well done. It did identify all the areas which I knew, like Judy said, you read it, and you all the stuff that they said in there was something that we all knew. If you live around here, you know what it says. What I think is going to be the problem is down the road, but I'm going to vote for it because I think that a lot of work went into it, and I'm going to hope that somewhere down the road we can put a stop to any little extra that they want to grab us for down the road, because every one of these things have always ended up costing us, whether it's the way we do beach testing or whatever. They've all cost us money in the end result. I'm hoping that that we have some way of making sure that doesn't happen down the road. Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, if we're good, Alan?
He's muted.
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, passes 5-0-0. This needs to be executed. Ken?
Yes, it does.
All board members, or can I do it?
You can do it with the one board member.
Yeah, actually, you can do it. It says names, title. So do it as the chair. Because I
Okay.
have a copy of it in front of me.
All right. And that way you guys won't have to go into town hall tomorrow if you don't want to.
Yeah, they have to. They got to sign a bunch of licenses. Sorry.
What fun. Okay. Well, it is what it is.
Thank you
I
very
guess-
much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for all the work on this. It's appreciated.
Appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a happy holidays.
You as
You
well.
too. Okie dokie. We have this dog hearing, but I'm wondering why we don't have more people for it.
Who do we have?
Well, I'm gonna drag up the complaint letter and figure out who should be here. We should have animal control in the form of Mr. Kimball or the animal control officer.
I'm not, let me look here.
Not here.
Not here.
And-
You know what? I'm gonna continue it because without a prosecutor, there's no case.
Plus, we've already decided that we're not going to go forward with these cases if the actual responding person isn't there.
Yep. Exactly. So this will be continued to a future date. The parties will be re-alerted as to when it happens. Not even gonna open the hearing. Let's see. Licenses and permits.
Okay, the first
By the
one.
way, for anybody who was here for the dog hearing, I apologize because not having an animal control officer, we're the town and it's our responsibility too to make sure they get here. So we're sorry if you dedicated this night to this, but we will get to this matter. So licenses and permits?
Yes. The first one we have is an application from Heather Hill Holdings Corp., DBA Depot Liquors, 47 Depot Street, East Wareham, for a change of hours. And I can read the change of hours into the record if you like.
Yeah, you can. I believe there may be somebody here.
No, he's for
Oh, he's for the jug shop.
he's for
That's right.
DJP, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, please.
Depot Liquors store hours will be Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then starting on June 1st, there will be summer hours through September 30th, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, and these are all subject, of course, to the governor's COVID restrictions too. When he closes the Packies down early, they have to close early regardless of what we vote. That's your motion?
Yes.
Second, please. Second by Patrick. Any questions on this? Seeing none, Alan?
Yes.
Roll call. Thank you. Jim?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, 500. Okay, next one.
The next one is a request from Lindsay's Inc., DBA Lindsay's Family Restaurant, Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass., to temporarily close for the months of December, January, and February. And I make that as a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Judy, seconded by Patrick. Any questions?
Go
Go ahead,
I
Jim.
just want to say, I don't know if this is related to the COVID, but
It is.
I know a lot of the restaurants are taking a hit and they've been in business forever. And I think this is just an example of how much it's impacting even well-founded and grounded businesses. That's all. Thanks.
Yes, and further to that comment, I've been mostly avoiding going out to restaurants just because, I'm somewhat vulnerable to this disease. So it's just another way to make myself safer. But I've heard from people who did go to Lindsay's, and they were very upset to know that it was closing because they thought it was one of the absolute safest places in town, and that they had done a great job with managing. They were happy with the way the places, the tables were distanced, the way the staff behaved, and everything else. So unfortunate. But anyway, back to the vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and we look forward to them reopening.
Okay.
500.
The next one is the application from DJP Liquor Corp. DBA The Jug Shop, 221 Main Street, Wareham, for a change of manager. And I believe that we have Mr. Patel here with us.
Yep.
So I guess, would he like to speak?
I'm the new manager at the jug shop, so my brother just wanted to change my name to it.
Okay, that's fine. I see you're working too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Closing soon, so.
Okay, be safe. Any questions for Mr. Patel, or are we ready for a motion here?
No, I'm good.
Okay, the motion is to change the manager to Ashish Kumar Patel.
Yeah.
Did I do that okay?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Judy,
Second.
seconded by Patrick. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, 500. We're going to have to go to the office. Our clerk just told us we had to go to the office tomorrow to sign a bunch of stuff, so this will be in there. You will need, however, to call town hall, speak to the selectman's office, which is extension 3101, I think is the number you're going to want to dial, not 3102, because 02's on vacation, I think, isn't she?
Yeah, but they answer both of them. One or
Okay.
two.
Yeah, 3101, 3102, and make an appointment to go in and get it, because we did just close town hall except for call-in business. So
No
call
problem.
tomorrow afternoon and it should be ready for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a
Did
good
we
night.
take a vote yet?
Yes.
We did. Okay, we're good. You're all set, Mr. Patel. Thank you.
Okay, the next is, I move the renewal of the following year-round retail packaged goods store, all alcoholic beverages license for the year 2021 under the provisions of Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Patriot Spirits, Inc., DBA Liquor and More, 18 Toby Road, Wareham, Mass., and the documentation is all in order.
Okey doke. Motion, and we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Judy, seconded by Jim. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 500.
I'm unfortunately going to have to make the next motions one at a time because we have lots of missing documentation. So I'm going to make recommendations that we sign the things, but subject to receipt of what's missing. Is that all right?
Well, I think you could make a motion to approve, because all we're approving, the ones under E, and just go down the Roman numerals of the ones that we're holding and just make that part of the motion. Then you don't have to read each name.
Okay. I move the renewal of the following year-round common all alcoholic beverage licenses for the year 2021 under the provisions of Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Number 1, Captain Al's Restaurant, LLC, DBA Captain Al's Restaurant and Tiki Bar, 3236 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. With a hold. Charlie's Place, Inc., DBA Charlie's Place, 3073 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Mass. With a hold. Conco, Inc., DBA Narrows Crossing Restaurant, 1 Narrows Road, Wareham, Mass. No hold. Cranberry Hospitality, LLC, DBA Town Place Suites and Rosebrook Event Center, 50 Rosebrook Way, Wareham, Mass. With a hold. LR Hunt, LLC, DBA Cafe Soleil, 241 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. No hold. Nachos, Inc., DBA Casa Cancun, 2421 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. No hold. Pepper Dining, Inc., DBA Chili's Grill and Bar, 2885 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Mass. No hold. Red Robin International, Inc., DBA Red Robin Gourmet Burgers and Spirits, 2421 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. No hold. Shenanigans Bar and Grill, Inc., DBA Shenanigans Bar and Grill, 2691 Cranberry Highway, Wareham. Hold. Wareham Theater, Inc., DBA Flagship Cinemas, 39 Doty Street, Wareham, Mass. Hold. Ying Dynasty of Wareham, LLC, DBA Ying Dynasty, 265 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass.
Okay, we have a motion. Can we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Judy to approve, and in some instances hold, seconded by Patrick. Roll call vote. Alan?
Before we do that, how are we going to handle the ones that are being held if we're not meeting the next 2 weeks?
They have to get them from the office. We're going to sign them and the office will hold until they have the paperwork.
Yeah, I reviewed, may I answer, Mr. Chairman?
Just go ahead.
Okay, I reviewed the paperwork as late as 6 o'clock this evening with the office. And they are, I know exactly what each one of the holds are. In some cases, it's something that they're waiting for a fire inspection or something like that. But the office is very much aware that each one of these holds needs to be fixed before the license can be released.
Have we notified each one of these people what the situation is?
Yes, sir. Several times in some instances.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yeah, I kind of, I just would like to say that I understand what Selectman Whiteside said. And it's unfortunate that, you know, we're in this position. I guess we're trying to get it done so that come the first of the year, they'll be able to continue business. So will they notify us to come in and sign once everything's in, or do you want us to sign them beforehand?
Well, to minimize trips to the office, I would ask the board go in and just sign everything once tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I mean, we just basically made it appointment only, so I think we kind of need to take a little bit of heed with that too.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's just unfortunate we're not meeting for the next 2 weeks, correct?
That's correct.
Um,
And I'm not gonna not do that just to do a couple
well,
of liquor licenses,
that's
so.
fine. All right, I'm all set.
Yeah, thank you. Judy?
Yes, and I'll make the following comment. We actually started the renewal process on November 1st.
Oh, I'm not.
So it's these business owners, it's their responsibility to bring the documentation to the table, sir.
That's what I'm saying. As long as we're not holding up on our end,
No,
I don't have a lot of, you know, I'll leave it there.
There you go. I'm a softie. I get it, Jim.
Yeah.
Myself, yes. So 500 on those.
I move the renewal of the following year-round common vic wines and malt beverages license for the year 2021 under the provisions of Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Stone Path Malt LLC, DBA Stone Path Malt, 11 Kendrick Road, Wareham, Mass.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Judy, seconded by Patrick. Any discussion on this one? Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 500.
Renewal, I move the renewal of the following year-round club all alcoholic beverages license for the year 2021 under the provisions of Chapter 138 of Massachusetts General Laws. Chromistic Tribe, 156, International Order of Redmond, Inc., DBA Chromistic Tribe, 156, at 765 Main Street, West Wareham.
Motion by Judy. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Jim. Any discussion or anything? Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Myself? Yes, I'm sorry, Judy, yes.
Yes.
Every so often I like to throw a curveball to see the faces go up. Let's see, town business, COVID-19 update. Missing among us is our town administrator. He's burnt. There wasn't really all that much on here that involved him, so he played hooky. So other than the fact that the numbers are skyrocketing, unless we want to talk about it, I don't think there's anything here.
And Mrs. Whiteside and yourself mentioned town hall is closed to the public as of tomorrow.
Yes, I did.
I know, and that's the big one right now. And everybody stay safe and try to do the right thing.
Yep. Thank you. We did Cadet Cahill. We did the multi-hazard plan. We have a donation.
Yes, I move to accept the donation from the Westport Fund on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Curtin in the amount of $1,000 to the Wareham Free Library for providing library services to the town of Wareham.
Okay, motion to accept by Judy. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. And thank you to the Westport Fund and the Curtins. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim? Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Once again, thank you, folks.
I move to ratify the hiring of Frederick Govea, laborer at municipal maintenance, and Timothy Levine, laborer in municipal maintenance.
Okay, we have a motion to
Second.
ratify hiring by Judy, seconded by Patrick. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 500, and welcome aboard to Mr. Gouveia and Mr. Levine. Decommissioning solar bonds. These have been on the agenda since God was a boy. And apparently Mrs. Whiteside is ready to proceed.
Yes, I am. I move to accept as to form the decommissioning of the following solar field bonds. They're going to be going back to the planning board. 160 TIH WHAM 8 Solar Inc. in the amount of $148,831.07. 77 FTM WHAM 8 Solar LLC in the amount of $126,807.39. 71 CFR WHAM 8 Solar LLC in the amount of $78,463.90. And 299 F2M WHAM 8 Solar LLC in the amount of $137,177.42.
Okay, we have a motion by Judy. We need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Patrick. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alan, go ahead.
What's the actual instrument for these bonds?
What is the actual?
Yeah, who is actually providing the bond?
I can't remember the name of the insurance company, but I have a file this big and it's in the town, in the Board of Selectmen office for review. This has been reviewed by Mr. Bowen. It's been sent back by me several times because there was a change in ownership.
Right.
I was very uncomfortable with issuing a decommissioning. We are only agreeing as to the form of the decommissioning. We are not doing the decommissioning ourselves.
I understand, but my concern is with the bonds, what the actual instrument is, whether they can sit there and then sell it off to somebody else, because we're supposed to be notified if the bond goes away. And as everybody knows, I've been consistent for a long time. I prefer a cash bond. I don't like the way these things are done.
It is an insurance company, I believe.
Yeah, I know, but they can assign it to somebody else down the line. They sell them off.
No.
Yes. Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Richard.
Yeah, oh yes, I'm here. The
He's
the
just
planning
Richard.
board. The planning board will have to get the name of the surety company. Ms. Whiteside says that we have it. The key next step would be just for the planning board to be sure that the company is listed on companies that are qualified to serve as sureties in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So that would be the key next step.
Mr. Bowen, Mr. Titlebaum, I can respond to that. They are. It's one company and it is licensed in Massachusetts.
Excellent.
Okay. I don't know if that satisfies Alan's concerns, but it's additional information. Anything else?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Alan was just, I don't want to put words in his mouth. It would have been nice to know who the holder of the bonds was, or the issuer of the bonds, but we can go look that up. And, I don't know if we normally had that in the packet. And who holds a bond? We are the holder of the bonds. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And so, go ahead, Mr. Titlebaum.
No, I was just going to turn to Rich, but Patrick knows the answer too. So
we're the payee, or the beneficiary.
Right. Okay, I just, I'll just move along. I can just discuss this with Rich or someone else later. This is more informational than anything. Thank you.
thank you. Anything further? Roll call vote. Alan?
No.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 410.
May I just speak? This has been over a month in the documentation. I was a commercial banker for more than 23 years. And I was not happy with this paperwork. Mr. Bowen and I went back and forth again with Mr. Buckland's help in order for me to be satisfied as I would have been as a banker. I don't have, and I apologize for not having the package in front of me, but it's in our office and it does meet my very specific requirements.
Well then,
Peter,
yes.
if Mr. Chairman, if I may, we did go back and forth with the solar company, Borrego, a number of times. What they sent us in the beginning was unacceptable. And they didn't seem to understand why until we pointed out that some of the language made no sense. So eventually they relented, realized that they were wrong, and shaped up. So there you go.
Well, I'm glad you held their feet to the fire and satisfied 80% of us anyway. We know Alan likes the cash sureties. He's not big on insurance bonds.
Alan's the cash.
Cash money, homie. That's what Alan says.
Wow.
And he's been very consistent about that. So I don't expect him to change. Next up, Abcc Renewal.
We need to take a vote to authorize sending the Abcc our renewal certification. And what that is a certification of an estimate, the latest estimate for the population of the town of Wareham. The document is in the office to be signed. So I move.
Second.
Right. Thank you.
I'm
Okay.
assuming that was a motion.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
I guess I
Sounded
have
like it to me.
I have to acknowledge it as one. Motion by Judy, seconded by Patrick. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, 500. We did have one item under 48-hour business, did we?
Yes, sir. I have it in front of me. Would you like?
I'll go by the board, but I go through the board afterwards. But I know we had one came into Judy.
We had one that came in yesterday. It's a request from Barnacle Bob's Inc. DBA. Oh, it's BB's Inc. DBA. Excuse me. It's Barnacle Bob's Inc. DBA BB's Bar and Grill at 2424 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, to close for the winter due to COVID-19 and reopen on Saturday, March 20th, 2020 for businesses as licensed. And they have
2021, you meant?
I mean, 2021, yeah. And they have a vote of their board of directors that asks.
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay. It's unfortunate that places have to do this, but you know, they have to do what's responsible for them. They have to do what's economical for them, and it is what it is. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, 500.
Peter, I just want you to know that the reason for some of these restaurants starting to do this is because it actually costs them less money to close than it costs them to stay open. And that's what's going on right now.
Yep.
And with all the extra things they have to do, with all the short number of people, with all the stuff that's going on, it's costing them more money to stay open. So they're getting to the point where they just might as well close and eat whatever the loss is, because the loss can't be any bigger than the one that they're making right now. So.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you. That's certainly, I believe the same to be true. Absolutely. Alan, do you have any 48-hour business?
No.
Patrick?
No.
Jim?
No, I do not.
Judy, any additional?
No, thank you.
I have one. You know, I was watching the news today and, you know, reading news online. And as Congress wrangles over this stimulus bill, there seems to be quite a bit of fighting over whether there should be aid to states and municipalities included with it, or whether it should simply be another corporate bailout and maybe let's mail some people some checks, you know, $300 or whatever to add to their unemployment to get them through the holidays. I would like to see if the board would be interested in allowing me to write to our elected congressmen and our 2 elected United States senators to implore them to push to get some damn state and local funding in any relief bill that comes through Congress. I'm sick and tired of being on the bottom of the totem pole while these people wrangle over nonsense and try to slip in stuff that's not appropriate. You know, both sides do it. I'm not calling out any side in particular here, but it's time that, you know, at our level, we start telling our elected representatives that we're not happy with the way those houses are doing their business in Washington, and to, you know, get on the stick and do what's right. And well, that's the end of my rant. If you'll indulge me, send a letter.
I'll support you to, I'll make the motion that you write a letter to our congressmen and representatives and senators, I mean.
May I speak to your motion?
Certainly.
I don't want Tom Brady or a whole bunch of other people who have more money than God getting PPP money. That's just plain wrong. And I'd like you to point that out in your letter.
Well, you know, it was interesting.
I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Got $1 million bucks.
I don't know. Well, I don't, listen, I'm from Massachusetts. I'm never going to call out Tom Brady in an official correspondence. That's like signing my own death warrant. But what I will say.
Never moving back to Massachusetts. He's never moving back.
Okay. Judy's over Tom Brady. I guess we figured that out in the meeting.
Yeah.
But anyway. but regardless, it's not about who they're giving money to. It's about who they're not giving the money to that's ticking me off. So I'll make the point that out of all of the fluff projects that they've managed to jam into these things, maybe they could actually do something tangible. Remember, we're the interface with the people here. Right. We're the ones that people come to when they want services. We're the ones, you know, in our Board of Health and our health nurses and everything else, and our people who are getting sick trying to go out there and deal with these places and deal with outbreaks and deal with this, that, and the other thing. It's not these people in Washington.
And we're being economically impacted because of the less tax revenue being collected at all the restaurants and other places.
As I understand, one of the issues is they wanted to pay off all the debts of all the states. And that became a sticking point because, as you know, New York is $60 billion in the red that has nothing to do with COVID. And, you know, they're willing to pay apparently all of the cost relevant to COVID, but they won't pay that $60 billion. You know what I mean? In other words, you had that before you came. We're not going to touch it, but everything else we're willing to pay. And they just can't come to an agreement. They've been trying to work this out for quite some time now. And I agree, Peter, send the letter. I mean, not a problem, you know?
Yeah. You know, yeah, I hope lots of municipalities do something like this. Alan?
The federal government, unfortunately, doesn't understand. They forget where they came from. Probably we'll see a stimulus package again, January, February, with the same deal. You know, where money goes to the biggest corporations, the ones that have the most assets to apply for the different funds and get it done. What I'd also like to see, since we're going to do this, the state of Massachusetts has a $700 million, we'll call it a stimulus bill for businesses, et cetera. It's sitting. They're going to be, I think, in the first week of January, they close down again. And if we're going to write a letter there, we should be writing a letter to our local representatives, both senators and state reps, basically asking to please get this thing done and passed, because that $700 million will go a long way to every one of the 351 communities.
Okay.
That will give us a better chance of getting money than you're going to see in the federal government.
No problem doing that too. If you want to give me the particulars afterwards, you know, so I know what bill I'm talking about or whatever it is.
Why don't you give Susan a call when you get done tomorrow sometime?
Yeah, okay, I'll talk to her. Okay, so we have a motion for me to write letters by
Peter, Patrick,
Jim.
myself.
And I'm the second.
And Patrick's the second. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Thank you. And I will copy the board on those letters when I get them done. TA report, we don't have one of those. Liaison initiative reports. Alan?
Okay, today we had local government advisory council meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. We won't have another one till January 5th. We're staying at phase 3, step 1, which is obviously reverting back one step. Unfortunately, the city of Boston, and I believe 8 other towns or cities, have gone back to phase 2, step 2. The governor has basically allowed any municipality, if they feel they want to, they can move back to that phase 2, step 2, or even more restrictive. So basically, if things get worse in Wareham, the town administrator wants to cut back, they can. It will be extremely difficult for the Christmas season to, as far as economics go, and also obviously people's health is in jeopardy if that's being done as well. As far as transportation, just to give people an update, since we won't be meeting till January, Route 6 and 28 project is moving along. They're doing utilities and stuff now, and that's basically the schedule still for next year is in line going ahead. The Swift Beach Light project has been approved, 25% design. Unfortunately, the way the tip is set up, we won't have that started until sometime in the year of 2023. The bike path for Narrows Road and Minot Ave is on the schedule again, also for 2023, approved and moving forward. We're trying to see if we can also get wrapped into the TIP program sometime next year or so. The Depot Street, Great Neck, and Onset Ave intersection of trying to get a roundabout there. The other pieces we have, as I mentioned before, I'll give you as far as the vaccine goes, they made it very clear that as far as municipalities, your first responders, the hospitals and stuff will be getting their shots first. What will come second will be the public works people, and then we'll go from there as far as the age groups, et cetera. And the last group will probably be in April. I'd like to read off a particular site where people can go, individuals as well as municipalities, to find out exactly how the vaccine distribution will go and when your turn will come. This is very important because it varies by which the communities have for the facilities. I know South Coast Hospital is one of the 35 hospitals that will be getting a large share of COVID, vaccinations, etc. And the second one is going to be released probably tomorrow as far as approval, and that will start coming. So if we can put this up on our website as well, all lowercase, COVID, COVID, -19, -vaccine, -plan, -mass, MA at mass.gov. It's pretty important because people are going to be calling, asking, when can I do this? When can I do that? This is the easiest way to get there to keep the traffic on phones at a minimum, because a lot of people have no idea what's going on with it.
Yeah.
There's a couple things going on with FEMA for reimbursement, but Derek will take care of that. We don't need to get into that. I've worked with the MMA again. They're going to lobby for an increase in Chapter 90 money coming in the January meeting, but they will be proposing a matching in-kind funds or regular funds for basically the Chapter 90 to see if we can get a large amount of money that way instead of what's going on. And they'll also go ahead, and they've been writing letters and working on the fees and taxes, et cetera, received from the marijuana companies to basically eliminate it and go to a set single number for all the different organizations that are involved with marijuana, getting rid of the impact fee, which we think we're going to lose anyways. And the only other thing I have left, I met with the Council on Aging this morning, going over the survey, which has to go out to finish off our age-friendly community status before we can apply for grants. I went through the survey with Missy, and they should be able to get that started and getting that out in the next week or so. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Patrick.
Okay, so I had my school building meeting the other day, and the school's going really great. It's a good month ahead of schedule, which is kind of nice. As you know, we've saved a lot of money in financing, and it's on budget. The other thing that's interesting is they're actually already starting to paint inside the building. That's how far they're along, believe it or not. You'd be amazed to think that they're already painting on one floor. So, but it's going pretty well. And the committee's doing a pretty good job of keeping up on it. I got to thank Mr. Menard, who reviews all the bills for verification, along with a couple of other folks on the board. And it seems to be going well as far as financing and stuff goes. Everybody will be real proud of that building. And I think it'll come in, under what we expected.
Great.
And that's it.
Nice to have good news.
Yeah.
Jim.
Well, we have a Carver, Marion, Wareham Regional Refuse District meeting tomorrow night in Carver. We're meeting in person. I was hoping to meet via Zoom, but we're not. Hopefully, we're going to move to that. You know, a couple of other members are a little bit concerned about that. We'll soon be out of the district will be out of the actual operation of transfer stations, as you know, the end of the month. And I think it's the 31st at noontime, Wareham will be closed. I mean, Rochester will be closed, and Benton Brook, I believe, is the day before because they're not open on, I think Thursdays is one of the days they're not open. So I believe on the 5th, we're scheduled to open up operation, the town of Wareham at Rochester Route 28 facility. Hopefully everything is going smoothly. No, everything is going well. It's being done. Dave's doing a good job. Patrick just mentioned him. And Derek has been, you know, working with the consultant and Dave and talking with maybe the potential curbside contractor who will have some of the responsibility of moving containers for us. So things are being put in place. And, you know, it was a difficult time, I will say, and some people through working in the district, other towns through, things happened that were unexpected, and we had to work our way through those, and we had to hold firm in order to be able to have a facility to work out of it all. And it just took months and months and months of saying, well, we're not interested in what you would like to do. And finally, we came to a different resolution. And oftentimes, believe it or not, I don't say something because it's not going to help move the matter in a positive direction. So I'd rather not speak to it in a negative fashion at times. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll read between some lines there. I think everybody else will too. Judy.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Well, I will talk from the redevelopment authority perspective. The zoning board of appeals opened up the public hearing on the Littleton Drive project. By the time they got to the presentation and the project itself, they still had, you know, over 40 people on their Zoom. I listened in. I didn't participate. There was no need. You know, and naturally, as would anybody be, if something big is coming to your backyard, you're going to have questions. And there were questions asked. There were concerns about people trespassing onto property. There were concerns about where it was going to be located. People had questions regarding some kind of apparent wetland resource out there, and so on and so forth. The interesting thing is, though, that you know, the last time I was, you know, watching one of these things was the Woodland Cove thing, and the tenor was entirely different, and that was because of the applicant. Rather than somebody coming in and just trying to jam something down our throats, we had an applicant who was cooperating with us. And, you know, it is the difference between a hostile 40B and a friendly 40B in that process. You know, you try to get to your 10%, and of course, we all have that question as to what 10% really means once we get there, with the local need or the regional need thing that they can throw at us. But I think it's important that we try to develop affordable housing in a cooperative fashion. You wind up with a much better development. You wind up with places that have amenities, that have, you know, don't have, you know, Warsaw Pact, you know, design and just stacking, you know, apartments on top of each other for making a buck. So I think the tenor was a bit different. You know, some of the concerns, some of these people are never going to accept it. They like what they have, and they're not going to be happy with what goes in there. And I understand that. But it was interesting to see how the process can work if the people don't go in there and it's instantly adversarial. So I just wanted to make that remark. Let's see, consent agenda, approve meeting minutes.
Okay, the minutes for October 8th, 2019 can only be a 3-0-0 vote. Alan was not present and I was not either. So I move that we excuse me, approve the meeting minutes of October 8th, 2019. And yeah,
Okay. Can we get a second?
Second,
Okay, I will ask for a roll call vote. Alan?
Abstain.
Patrick?
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
abstain.
Myself, yes. 302 with Alan and Judy abstaining. August 11th.
I move, everyone was present. I move we accept the minutes of August 11th, 2020.
Okay, a motion by Judy. Can we have a second?
Second,
Second by Patrick. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
Patrick?
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes,
Myself, yes. 500. That brings us to only one thing. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and happy however you celebrate this time of year, and happy if you don't.
Motion to
Everybody in
adjourn.
Wareham. Motion to adjourn by Alan.
second, and stay safe.
Yes, please stay safe. We want to see all of you in the next year. Second by Judy. Roll call vote. Alan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
myself, yes. Good night, Wareham. Happy New Year when it comes.
Happy Kwanzaa.